Hello and welcome. Today we are diving into something absolutely fascinating, a kind of hidden superhighway inside your body. It's a direct line of communication between your gut and your brain, and let me tell you, it might just flip everything you thought you knew about mood, health, and well-being.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty bold question. What is the real source of a low mood or even chronic inflammation isn't actually starting in your head? What if it's rooted deep inside your gut? It's a huge idea, and one that really challenges the way we've traditionally looked at health.
You know, we talk about this stuff all the time without even realizing it. We say things like, I have a gut feeling, or we get butterflies in our stomach. Well, it turns out those aren't just cute little phrases. They are actual, real-deal biological signals coming from a communication network that we're only now beginning to truly appreciate.
And that's what we're talking about today, the body's secret superhighway. This isn't just some casual connection either. Think of it more like a bustling, two-way freeway with information constantly flowing back and forth, shaping our health every single second. So, what is the gut-brain axis, officially? Well, it's the bidirectional communication network linking your gut to your central nervous system. And when I say bidirectional, I mean that the gut talks to the brain, and the brain talks right back to the gut. This is a physical, biochemical reality made up of this incredible web of nerves, hormones, and immune cells.
So who are the main players on this superhighway? Well, you've got the central nervous system. That's the big boss, the brain and spinal cord. Then you have the enteric nervous system, which is so powerful it's often called our second brain, and it's located right in our gut. They're connected by the vagus nerve, which acts like a major data cable. And working with all of them are the trillions of microbes in our gut, and of course, our immune system. It's a full-on team effort.
And listen, when we call it a second brain, we are not kidding around. The lining of your gut is embedded with literally millions of neurons. There are so many that it can actually make decisions and operate independently without having to check in with the brain in your head. It's an incredibly powerful processing center all on its own.
And all of this leads to a really simple but powerful truth. What happens in the gut does not stay in the gut. The state of your gut creates these massive ripple effects that travel throughout your entire body, influencing everything from how you fight off a cold to how you feel emotionally.
Okay, so let's zoom in on one of the most important parts of this whole network, the trillions of tiny microorganisms living inside you. Seriously, you have to stop thinking of them as just passive little passengers. They are an active, thriving, and incredibly influential community that you are hosting. In fact, scientists are now calling the gut microbiota a hidden metabolic organ, which is just wow. It's not just sitting there, it's actively working. It's helping you digest your food, it's training your immune system, and this is the crucial part, it's producing essential chemicals that your brain needs to function properly.
And this brings us to a really important idea, balance. When your microbiota is balanced and diverse, everything runs smoothly. But when it gets out of balance, a state called dysbiosis, that's when things can go wrong. You can end up with a leaky gut, which ramps up inflammation all over your body and leads to a decline in those helpful microbes.
So how on earth does a gut imbalance actually end up affecting your mood? Well, the key connection, the bridge between these two worlds seems to be inflammation. And this can create a really nasty feedback loop. It can start with something like psychological stress, which we know directly messes with our gut function. That stress can weaken the gut wall, allowing little bits of bacteria and other inflammatory stuff to leak into your bloodstream where they absolutely do not belong. This, in turn, triggers a full-body inflammatory response, which then affects your brain and your mood, which of course just creates more stress. You see the cycle?
Okay, get ready for one of the most mind-blowing facts in this whole story. You know serotonin, right? The so-called happy chemical that regulates our mood? We all think it's made in the brain. Well, it's not. An absolutely astonishing 90% of your body's serotonin is actually made in your gut. Let that sink in for a second. 90%.
Now, to be super clear, that serotonin made in your gut doesn't just pack its bags and travel straight to your brain, but it does play a huge role in neural signaling throughout your whole body. And, more importantly, when your gut is inflamed, it can disrupt the very pathways your brain uses to regulate mood, and that is a potential factor in conditions like depression.
All right, so we've talked a lot about the problem, but here's the really good news. This is not out of our control. Not at all. The research is also showing us some clear, totally actionable ways that we can support our own gut-brain axis.
First up,
Let's talk nutrition. And really, it's all about feeding your good gut microbes what they love. Increasing your dietary fiber from lots of different plants is absolutely key. Think of it as fertilizer for your inner garden. Fermented foods like yogurt or kimchi are amazing because they introduce beneficial bacteria directly. Omega-3s from things like fatty fish are fantastic for fighting inflammation. And, just as important, cutting back on ultra-processed foods helps starve out the bad guys that drive that inflammation.
And hey, it's not just about what you eat. Getting consistent sleep is so important for repairing your gut lining every night. Regular, moderate exercise can actually increase the diversity of your microbes. And remember that stress-inflammation loop we talked about? Well, things like mindfulness or meditation aren't just for your mind. They are powerful tools for calming that entire gut-brain axis and breaking that cycle.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that we really need to embrace a more holistic view of our health. And let's be clear, holistic does not mean unscientific. Not at all. It just means recognizing that our bodies are these incredibly complex, interconnected systems where the gut, the brain, and the immune system are in a constant, dynamic conversation with each other.
As we learn more and more about the gut-brain axis, it really starts to blur the lines between fields like gastroenterology and psychiatry. And that leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. Could a huge piece of the future of mental health care actually be found not just in our heads, but deep inside our gut?